Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Friends Talking Nerdy. This is Tim Jousma, and with me I have the greatest legal mind in the Pacific Northwest. It is Professor Aubrey.
Hey everybody!
Alright, and as you may hear with the ambient noise in the background, we are doing another mobile episode this week.
Woohoo! Mobility!
Yes, that is beauty of the podcast hosts that we have now. We have some more tools at our disposal to do some more unique episodes.
Yes, just like this one where we're mobile recording while we're doing something fun so that we can bring you with us in our pockets and you can experience the fun with us.
Yes, we are heading to the beach.
Yay! Which beach are we going to?
It is called Rooster Rock, and folks in Portland are like, and we'll tune in again next week.
No, so we're going to go swim in the Columbia River, which is a really big river that flows through the area that we live in. And there are lots of places to go swim in the river, but we're heading out to Rooster Rock State Park in particular because it is clothing optional.
Yes, we are going to a nude beach. Yes!
Yay!
Anyway, I don't have a long history of going to nude beaches myself. I know last year was the first time that I went, and Rooster Rock was the first place, and it was with you. That's right,
and it was a beautiful day.
Yes, not to imply that you've been to like every single nude beach in the United States. Listen to how I open up.
Well, I do love a nude beach. I love anywhere that you can be naked outside legally.
Yes, because that is the thing about the nude beach. It's not there for titillation, and if you are acting titillated and acting like a complete jackass, then you don't deserve to be at a nude beach, because it's not about the nudity, it's not about the whole sexual aspect of it, it's about being one with nature, really.
Right, really getting back to your roots and sort of stripping away the just everyday stuff and just being human.
Yes, so yeah, we are going to be heading there, but we thought we'd record some thoughts here on the car ride. And summer is, my summer break is almost done.
Your summer break of 1 week is almost over, that's right.
Yes, one more day to go. But yeah, and you being a professor, you do have yourself quite the lovely summer vacation here.
I do. I just started my summer break a week ago. That means I have 11 weeks of summer left.
Yes, most people are totally jealous at that.
Yes, I know.
Yes, so, summer... in America, at least up till our generation, I don't know about current generations because school has changed a lot. But
we're both Generation X, I'd say.
Yes, we're both Generation X. So for us, we had, usually 2 to 3 months off during the summer. And that was a tradition in this country simply because, one, schools didn't have air conditioning. And two, a lot of times it was a rural thing. If they had school all year round, farmers would not be able to have their farm hands, their kids around to help out during the important harvest time. And that is make or break. And, for the 1800s, that is definitely understandable, but we're also not in the 1800s anymore.
No, so there's really no reason, although there are farm workers, right? America still does produce most of its own food, and that is produced by farmers. Now, in a lot of places, farms have been replaced by sort of mechanized land management rather than farming by farmers. But there are still farmers out there, and particularly people who work on farms work very hard during the summer, and they have less work during the winter. And so there are more opportunities for people at that, that level of the economy who are working in the summer. That's still true for some of them. But for most of us, the summer is just like any other time of year.
Yeah, I mean, now, like I mentioned, younger folks today are probably, I know my kids didn't experience as long of a summer break as I did.
How long was their summer break?
Usually about a month and a half, sometimes 2 months. And like the earlier years, it was 2 months, but you would think that would be the time to where you would want to get them back in school as soon as possible, because I know with me in second grade, going to third grade, I probably forgot like a quarter of everything I learned and had to relearn it.
Yeah, they say that it does really help with retention across years to have shorter breaks, or shorter breaks more frequently.
Yeah, and I'm glad that that's what the future of grade school through high school is looking at. Because for as much as I loved my summer breaks, thinking back, I could have been a lot more productive with my time. And it's like if I had stayed if there had been just longer school, who knows what would have, what heights I would have learned. But as we are driving here, we are within direct eyesight of it. Looks like Mount Hood, maybe?
Yep.
Yes, that is the beautiful thing about Oregon. Excuse me. Another episode with hiccups. My goodness, that's a running gag. That's the beautiful thing about Oregon. Like anywhere you could like drive to a beach, but also see a mountain covered in snow.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what are some of your favorite summer memories?
Well, I was just going to comment on what you were saying about, the length of the summer vacation. And I know one thing that's definitely true for me now and was true for me as a kid. The summer vacation always seems like it's going to be so long, and that you're going to be able to do so many different things, and that you might even get bored. But then what happens to me is that I'm so upset about summer ending that the end just seems like it's coming quicker and quicker and quicker, and then it seems like summer only lasts a blink.
Oh man. But that would make more sense like me, with my employment for over 20 years now, I've not had, long periods of time where there's nothing I can do. I mean, the pandemic has been like the first time where I've had any sort of really extended periods of not much to do. And in some ways that can be enjoyable for, a misanthropic recluse like me, but getting out every now and then is important.
So has that been your experience during the pandemic? Is that of like you feel like you've been taking a break, or?
No, it's not that I feel I've taken a break. I mean, if I was taking a break, the break was forced on me. I mean, it's just with the world shut down the way it was, it felt like somebody pushed pause on like a DVD player or a streaming thing, but I was still able to like move around. So it seems like time passed, but nothing moved me forward, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So in your experience, sort of getting a little bit bored, because I know when I was a kid and now, if I can get a little bit bored where I'm not quite sure what to do, I've taken care of everything I need to take care of, and I'm just kind of like, okay, what's next? That's really when I become more creative, and I'm able to think sort of original thoughts and come up with new ideas. It's really the only time I can do that is if I have reached a state of boredom.
Yeah, for me, it's like traumatic emotional experiences bring on creative outlets. Like my first book that I wrote was written like a couple of months after I found out my daughter was going to be a thing. And my second book, which was a sequel to the first book I wrote shortly after the divorce.
I see.
So that does not mean I would not love to be creative in other ways, but yeah, I mean, that was being a little facetious, of course, in terms of big creative outbursts. But for those two major outlets, it was because of that.
That's very interesting. So ordinarily, when you have extra time, you don't feel particularly creative. It's really when those emotions get jostled up in you that you feel creative.
Yeah, for me, I mean, my style of writing, I mean, it's like I struggle to find the muse, and a lot of that is just me sometimes just putting it off and not setting up a schedule, because a lot of writing is pretty much just... The best writers are not ones that are necessarily the best at their craft. They're ones that are consistent, because writing is very much like playing a musical instrument. If you're not practicing in some way, shape, or form every day, you will lose your touch.
Very good point.
So but yeah, just having said that, I still find ways to be creative somewhat. Like, obviously the podcast for me is one way of having some sort of a creative outlet, and also reading a lot. I mean, any writer worth their salt needs to be reading, and I do try and read as much as I can. Yes, I have noticed that you do read an awfully lot.
Yes,
so I mean, that's another drawback of streaming services too. It's like you want the streaming services to have access to the shows, but then you can never find out what you want to watch, so you just grab a book most of the time.
Right.
But summers for me, I mean, I know with my mother being the way she was always super cautious and generally had us stay at home during the summer. My sister got to go out more because she liked my sister more than me as a kid. And so a lot of my experiences were just hanging out and, catching up on TV that I didn't catch up on during the regular year. Because in the past, when shows went off the air for the summer, you didn't have a streaming service to go back and catch up on all the old episodes. You had to wait for the summer reruns.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yes. That's where I caught up on a lot of, the TV that I've watched over the years. Also, too, that was the time where I was able to watch a lot more late night with David Letterman or a lot more wrestling.
Right.
Yes, because if my mother was home, we were not going to watch those.
What would you watch when your mom was home?
Whatever she wanted to watch.
I'd like a woman that's in charge of her household.
Well, honestly, I hated it at the time, but it's a perfect role. I mean, I do think in situations like that, it's the same type of thing as driving in a car. I think the person that is behind the wheel driving the car should get first choice at the music. I think that is just standard. And I think, growing up, my mother was the breadwinner, so she had the right to come home and say, I want to watch this.
Yeah. But at the time, you didn't feel like that because you were just a kid. You weren't asking not to work. That just wasn't your role in life.
Yeah, and also, too, I mean, looking back, there's a great channel on YouTube, the Pop Arena channel, and they've been, one of the things that they do on there is do a detailed documentary on every show that's ever been on Nickelodeon. It's from the very start, and kind of watching it back has been great because, getting a lot of nostalgia feels, but looking back on a lot of the shows that I loved as a kid, they were absolute garbage.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
You can't do that on television, for one.
And you think that show's absolute garbage? Yeah, I have very good memories of that being a great show.
I'll put it like this. Nostalgia... that show for Nickelodeon was one of the most important shows, and that show's impact is still felt today on Nickelodeon, and I love the nostalgia feels, but have you ever really sat down at your current age and tried to watch an episode?
No.
It has not aged well.
Well, so what I think is interesting about you can't do that on television, and this is related to summer in that I also watched more TV over the summer, and I mostly watched historical fiction like I do now. Like if I have a real guilty pleasure, I'm going to watch a costume drama, and I've been that way since I was a tween at least. And so I would rewatch miniseries that had been on throughout the year that I had missed or that I just wanted to see again. So like the second book of Gone with the Wind, the Scarlett O'Hara novel, or North and South. There was a lot of miniseries about the Civil War when I was growing up.
Yeah, I was never a big miniseries guy, but what I did love back in the day was just the regular like ABC or NBC or CBS like Saturday night or Sunday night movie.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah, because a lot of times it's different than what it was. And we are almost at Rooster Rock, by the way. We can see the big rock, yeah. But it's different than what it is now, because when a lot of times for a first run movie, when it leaves theaters in the past, it would go to a place like HBO. HBO's been a thing since the early 70s. But then after that, when VCRs were not as prevalent or DVDs were not as prevalent, you had to wait for that movie to end up on one of the big three networks for one of the Saturday night movies. And the benefit of that is that a lot of times you would get extra footage just so they could pad out. Like Superman the movie, when that originally debuted on television, I believe in like 81 or 82, they ended up doing it over a 2-night period because there was enough extra footage that they ended up making it a 2-parter.
Wow.
And watching a movie on television back in the day, even though there were commercials and a lot of times there were editing, there were some benefits to watching it. But having said that, there were movies like The Blues Brothers. The Blues Brothers I hated for the longest time until I saw it on VHS and saw the unedited version. Because, for example, the opening scene when Jake and Elwood are in the nun's office and she starts hitting him with a ruler and they're like, fuck, shit, and like that's completely edited out of a regular TV performance. And I just thought the nun was hitting them and they weren't reacting, and what the hell, But, so anyway, we are pulling off the highway right now, going to Rooster Rock. So what I think we will do at the moment is give you a brief musical interlude, and by the time the musical interlude ends, we will be nude on the beach. So, my sister's probably grabbing like some bleach and like pouring it on her face right now. Like, I don't want to picture that. But anyway, we will be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are out of the vehicle and we are on a pathway to the beach. And the professor just put a nice dollop of sunscreen on my head because apparently it was it was beet red?
Yeah, beet red.
Yeah, you're going to need some too.
Am I?
On the shoulders, at least, usual spots.
Usual spots,
Yeah. And there's a wonderful bird flying overhead. How you doing, big guy? Come guest on the show? No. But we are heading to the beach as we speak.
It's a beautiful day out here. There's lots of people, but there's plenty of room in this park.
We already saw one rooster sighting, so.
Did you see a rooster? I see a rooster now.
Yeah, so. Yeah, we're going to find as secluded a spot as we can and then dip our toes into the water, which should definitely be fun.
Absolutely. I'm going to dip my entire body in the water.
It'll depend on how cold it is, but that's a usual thing with water. It's going to be super freezing until you completely submerge yourself, and then you can just dive in whenever you want.
Yep, I think that's true.
So who knows? But yeah, I'll definitely be getting in the water today. You don't come to the beach not to get into the water. That'd be stupid.
Absolutely not. You got to get in the water for sure.
Yes, and what better way to do it than naked?
Don't have to worry about your swimsuit trunks getting all wrapped up in your rooster.
Yeah. So, anyway, we're traveling along here. Just wanted to give you a brief update as to what we are doing. I think let's give them another musical interlude, and then we can give them a little something more a little bit later.
Sounds great.
All right. Enjoy the music. All right, we have finally found a spot to set up camp on the beach. We are not yet nude, but we are just relaxing at the moment. So,
hi everybody. We are in a beautiful spot. We've got two trees here. They look like
trees,
maybe birches. And a bunch of really tall grass, but we've kicked down the grass, and so we have a little grass spot right next to the river, and it's beautiful.
Yes, it was quite the journey to get here too.
Yeah, we didn't quite know where we were going, so we were kind of walking blind.
Yeah, so we ended up trudging through some, I don't know, we call these reeds? I mean, just tall grass or something like that. Being 6'5" helps. With size 13 feet, I was able to lead a path, and it wasn't as arduous for the professor.
That's right. It was wonderful.
Yes, so I got a bunch of seeds all over me, but yes.
You do. I
Yes.
call those hitchhikers.
Hitchhikers, all right. But yes, we are, again, have set up camp here, just resting for a few moments, but we are shortly going to be hopping into the Columbia River.
Yes, we are. We're going to feel that sweet, sweet satisfaction.
Yeah, that's what she said. Hey.
That's what she always said.
Yeah. It's, who would have thought? Lewis and Clark, a couple hundred years ago, when they were first discovering this place, that they I wonder if they thought, this is a good spot for a nude beach.
Probably not. They were so repressed and ridiculous. So I don't think they noticed anything like that.
Gotcha. All right. So, like I said, we're here at the beach, so we're not going to be spending 4 hours talking to you folks about the experience. We'll just be popping in here every few minutes or so. But, it's, again, this is Oregon. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, why are you not taking the time to visit nature at least once,
Oh yeah, and we're nature lovers. You're the least naturey person I've ever met in Portland, and even you love nature, but you weren't going out in nature on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean but I have a deep respect for it, of course. I mean, I love animals, as you know, and all that, and so I mean, and I don't have the history of environmental law that you do. I know you are very much more of an official warrior than I ever will be.
Official warrior?
Warrior, fighting the good fight.
Warrior. Oh, okay. I thought I do worry a lot about the environment, but yeah, I was a warrior for a while. I still have the warrior spirit.
Damn right. But okay, yes. Again, we are going to be taking a bit of a little momentary break here, folks. So kick back, relax, listen to this wonderful song here, and we will be right back for you. Okay, we are totally set up on the beach right here, and we are even back from a dip in the water.
Yes, we are. That water sure is cold.
Oof. I mean, it was almost like my testicles went like right back in, and it was just freezing cold in there. I'm sure the audience needed to know that.
Know that about your testicles, yes. So it was quite cold because it is not even summer yet. We're about 2 days away from summer, and I lost my train of thought.
A rooster sighting will do that.
So actually, the place that I picked for us to hang out, which was the first suitable place that I saw because I was tired of carrying all our stuff and walking. First suitable place I saw happened to be at the intersection of one trail and another trail. And so we're sort of the welcoming / goodbye committee of the beach today.
Yeah, someone done brought their smell hound earlier.
Mm-hmm. There was a smell hound.
Yeah.
There was I think it was a doodle before that.
Something like that. So the nice interaction, nice variety of folks that come visit here. Again, everybody's adults here. Nobody's being inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, just overall a nice day at the beach. That water is cold. You had mentioned, because you had got the courage to, to take the dive up to your neck and then back out. But you said you were still really, really, really cold after that, right?
Yes, it's very, very cold water, colder than you jump in the pool in the early morning in the summertime kind of cold, real actual glacier fed river cold.
Yeah, I'd have to suspect the water's probably around between 35 to 50 degrees, maybe.
No, I'd say 70. You have to keep in mind that your body temperature is nearly 100 degrees. And so anything less than that is going to feel cold to you. So even 95 degree water is going to feel cold to you because it's colder than you are. So when you think about real cold water, it may only be 60, 50 degrees, but being immersed in it feels much, much colder than that air temperature.
My nuts had a different story about how cold that water was.
I can't believe you said 35. That's 3 degrees above freezing.
Okay, maybe that was a little excessive, but, I had a nice range there.
It just feels really cold.
Yes, it is cold out there, but you got plenty of folks here at the beach still today. I mean, we had a waiting line in the parking lot just to pull in here.
Yes, there was a line at the state park kiosk where you pay to come into the park.
Yeah. Now, in the past, you told me that you used to work at a summer camp.
I did indeed. So this is a very summer campy day. I've had a very summer campy weekend because yesterday was kind of summer campy in that I left really early in the morning and I wasn't coming home till really late at night. So I had to take everything I needed for all my different activities throughout the day with me. And it's, this kind of a pandemic thing, but like I used to do that every day when I went to work. I used to think, okay, I need something to eat for lunch, and am I going to do something after work? Do I need to bring a change of clothes? What am I going to do after work? What equipment do I need for those activities? And but during the pandemic, because I've been working from home, I haven't had to think about that ever. So I feel like it's almost every day that I'm encountering something that feels like, oh wow, this is a new feeling. That kind of reminds me of like the first time I went to sleepaway camp, or the first time I spent the night as a camp counselor. And so today's been very camp-like because we had a couple of activities that we did. We did something in the city that felt like a little bit like going to the library or going to a museum.
But worse.
And then we actually went to Powell's City of Books. If anybody is familiar with that, it's one of the biggest locally owned bookstores, independently owned bookstores in the country. We had to go pick up a few things from there, and we had a lovely lunch in Portland and then headed out here to the beach. So we had to take all of our stuff with us, and we have all our beach stuff with us, and we went on a nice hike, and here we are relaxing in nature, and it reminds me of camp. But yeah, I was a camp counselor at a camp called Camp Rockbrook, which was very old, like from the turn of the century camp. And it had been a girls' camp all those years and was still a girls-only camp. And I was a pottery instructor and a cabin counselor. So I lived with a cabin full of girls and taught them how to make pottery during the day. And
any romances with the other counselors?
No romances with the other counselors. I made a couple of friends, which, that was a great experience to make a couple of friends, certainly. But no romances, no.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to clarify one thing. When I said worst experience, I only meant Powell's. We had a great time down there, but just Powell's was a little too busy for my taste. I guess I'm not ready for that type of busy in a retail store yet, just because people are so selfish.
Yeah, people really are. I've thought, during the pandemic, I really have developed feelings of camaraderie and we're all in this together. But like you go out and you see the way people behave and you're like, I don't want to be together with you. I don't want your help because you so clearly disdain everyone in the world but yourself.
Yeah, and that has me wondering, there are going to be some ripple effects because of the pandemic in society, and I wonder, my hope is that enough people are like in our shoes that finally see that, things can't go on, we can't go back to the status quo here, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But another dog on a visit here, hey, but anyway, so I think, any other camp stories?
I also went to camp when I was a kid, and my school, like many schools around the country, had a week-long camping trip that was part of, I think, 3rd grade, or maybe it was 4th grade, I'm not sure. Could have even been 5th grade. That was a long, long time ago.
Just noticing a big rash in my leg.
I think it's where... Have you been scratching right there?
No scratching whatsoever.
Yeah, that's a rash.
It's...
Oh, it's... You know what it is? It's from where the grass hit you when you were bushwhacking.
Sensitive skin. But you went to camp.
You were bushwhacking. That will cause... Bushwhacking's like serious business.
Yeah, it's...
You needed a machete.
No, the WWF in the late 80s had a tag team called the Bushwhackers, and they were presented as the dumbest but nicest guys from New Zealand, Luke and Butch, and they would go down to the ring, and they would routinely, like, lick each other's heads, and then go to, like, audience members at ringside and then lick their heads.
Why would they lick people's heads?
That's what they do in New Zealand, apparently. I don't know.
Interesting, but that's probably like, if that's true, that's the one thing you probably know about people in New Zealand.
Yeah, whoa! Yeah, anyway.
So, like I was saying, I had this week-long, the school, third graders went to camp. They do a similar thing in Portland called the outdoor school, and there's lots of... It's a good experience for kids to have to go to sleepaway camp, I guess, is the thinking. And so it's seen as enriching. I hated it. I wanted to go home to my mother, who would make me the food that I wanted to eat for dinner and who would be nice to me. There was not like a single person at that camp that was nice to me. None of my teachers were nice to me. None of the other girls were nice to me. It was hell. And we did a theater production, and I can't remember what the theater production was, but it was some kind of historical Hello Dolly kind of thing. And I was in that production, and the parents were invited up, I think, on Friday night to come see the production. And then we were all going home on Saturday, and my mom came up on Friday night to see the production, and so I saw her after the show, and I wouldn't let her leave. I was like, please take me home, please. And miserable. And so she got special permission to take me home a night early because I was such a crybaby because it was so miserable. But I think if I could go to camp today, like if there was this is summer camp for adults, everybody come for 2 weeks and have activities planned for you and people to take you places and show you stuff, I would be totally into that.
Yeah, I mean, but, you know, let's be honest, something like that is going to be for, like, uber rich people, you know, the people that can't have the luxury to take off a couple weeks every year or something like that.
Well, it doesn't, I mean, I think that's a big problem with the outdoors, actually. Like, let's talk about that. When you go out in nature, a lot of times you're exercising your privilege to even know about those activities that exist and to go out and do them, to have the know-how and equipment that maybe you got from your parents or other resources. And so I think there needs to be a concerted effort to make equal access to the outdoors for all people, regardless of their socioeconomic state, right? So we should have programs that don't just take kids from poorer neighborhoods out into the woods, but take families and people out into the woods and provide them with the instruction and equipment that they need to have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, especially in this country, if you are an adult and you're poor, you don't get any breaks whatsoever. And a lot of times you're in a spot to where you can't even, you know, do something like even go back to school necessarily, because that may be too much of a risk in terms of, you know, time that that's taken away from you that could be used to something that could be getting you money or something like that. And just this country.
Yeah. So I'm glad, right? I'm glad the kids get to go out into the woods. But I really think, you know, that especially here in the Pacific Northwest, where it is so accessible in terms of how close we are. It took us about 35 minutes to get out here today, and you'd never know that we're only 30 minutes outside of a big city, or what I consider a big city.
Yeah, I mean the scenery, just looking straight ahead at all it's like a mountain of trees, literally just straight ahead there, and yeah, lots of roosters right now. But that's what happens when you come to Rooster Rock.
Yep. Don't come to the rock if you can't stand the rooster.
Yeah, they come to snub the rooster. Anyway. Yeah, I went to camp a couple of times when I was a kid. It was never like a yearly thing, but there were a couple instances where I got to go. And, there were some things that I ended up liking, like we ended up going on a pig farm. And I remember telling the counselor and my cabin mates that, like, my family, like, raised pigs, and I, it gave all these facts about pigs. And, meanwhile, I'm pulling this out of my ass, and my family does not own pigs or anything like that. And then at the end of a camp, I got an award for knowing the most about pigs.
No, you did not. So this is interesting because I've had anxiety manifest in exactly the same way that you're talking about, which is like telling a story, like you feel super anxious, and so you just start talking, and you've got to have something to keep their attention, so it becomes a fantastical story. I have definitely done that before.
Yeah, I've done it too. I mean, I think I've told the Bill Cosby story on the show here. Yeah, one night I was at his house and he gave me some drinks. And when I was a kid, me with a joke, sorry. Yeah, when I was a kid, I was at my dad's place for the weekend, and I was at a gas station I ended up working at one point when I was an adult. But there was a limousine there. That part was true. What was not true was what I told people, and that's that the window rolled down in the back seat and Bill Cosby was there smiling, smoking a cigar.
So the thing about you when you were a kid, did you premeditate that you were going to tell that story? Like, oh, there's a limo. I know. Tomorrow at school, I'll tell the kids it was Bill Cosby. Or did that just come out of your mouth because you were feeling anxious?
It was an anxious thing, because I was poor, but we were going to like a lower middle class private school. It wasn't like a school that was officially associated with a church or something like that. It was seriously just two teachers that were like Christians or super Christian and just wanted to open up their own school, and they did. And they set it up to where low income students had the ability to have a private school education, because they felt that a private school education has some advantages, which it can, but that's usually
depending on where you are.
Depending on
the school system where you are.
And it ultimately depends on the budget. In a private school, depending on the type of people that go there, may be able to pay a lot in tuition fees. That way the school has more money to be able to get resources for like arts programs, for, sports or whatever. But this school is kind of on the lower end. But still, there were people there that were just richer. The ones with the Nintendos in their home. And, it was just a way to compete, I guess.
Right.
And again, with the Bill Cosby story, I got lucky. Either I was lucky and didn't realize that Bill Cosby was actually in town, or my teacher was covering for me. But when I said the story with my teacher in the room, he, said, "Oh yeah, he's playing at Grand Valley State University." And, so there you go.
Oh, wow. That would be such a sweet story if your teacher actually just covered for you. It was like, I could tell Tim was like feeling uncomfortable, and so...
Yeah, that teacher, that was my 5th and 6th grade teacher, and at that school that I went, that was the year where puberty started hitting in for most people. So, that's when, it's like you in 2nd or 3rd grade, you do keep a distance from the girls, but you can still play. But once you start realizing they're girls, then, things start getting a little weird at that point.
Yeah.
For me, it just was. It was fear more than anything. Just just scared to talk to any woman.
What were you scared was going to happen?
I don't know. Just it wasn't a logical fear. It was just just normal, everyday fear amped up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah, so that was really, I mean, yeah, I didn't have a horrific experience at camp or anything like that. I know that I know people that have had, worse experiences than I did. I mean, mine was probably like the bologna sandwich of camp experience. But it's not a memory I look back on as like, oh my God, those were the days.
Yeah, me neither. Nothing about that time I look back on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially living in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but anyway, yeah. Let's say we go to a musical interlude.
That sounds good. We will just do some relaxing here on the beach, enjoy the day, and we will be back in a little bit.
All right, stay tuned. All right, we have wrapped up our trip and are walking back to the car. And right now we are walking through kind of like a nature trail, the type of trail that if it were dark out and you would kind of expect it, if there was a movie of your life and it were dark out and you were walking this trail, the music would be like, kill, die.
That's true. That's absolutely true. But here in the bright, blazing sunshine, it does not seem ominous at all.
Yes, not so ominous, but more bitey. The skeeters are out.
Yes, so we've reached the late afternoon, and the mosquitoes have come out in the last half an hour, I would say, and it's time to go.
Yes, time to get back to the comfort of air conditioning and one sleepy cat and one hyper cat.
Yep.
Yes, yeah, when we were on the beach, I did put some advertising for our previous episode on social media. Ended up using a picture of Sherman and Phil. They're both photogenic.
They're very photogenic, especially together.
Yes. Your photo of Sherman today was pretty damn awesome.
Yes, it was a really good action shot of Sherman attacking a feather on a string.
Yeah. Oh, hey, helicopters. Look at that. What are we in, Magnum PI? Come on. Anyway. It's Black Op helicopters.
That's exactly what I was thinking because it was black.
Yeah, so the CIA probably has a fortress here. I don't know. But, yeah, overall, very good trip. I liked it.
I had a wonderful time.
Yes, and it's just a beautiful beach here. I mean, both beaches that we've been to, and I know you've been to a lot more beaches than I have here in Oregon. So just if you get a chance to go to the beach, why not?
Yeah, and the beach doesn't have to be on the ocean, of course. We didn't go to the ocean today. We went to the river. And if you've got river or lakes near you, which almost everybody does, surely find your swimming hole and go swimming this summer.
We saw a smellhound.
We did see a smellhound. You mentioned it on the show already, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. So anyway, just take time to leave the house every now and then. Don't be an absolute total recluse. Now I'm wondering where we need to go. Somebody left their swimming shorts. I think it's straight.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you.
We'll see. This may be our last episode.
Can you find this someday? We were happy.
So if we get lost in the woods and we have to resort to cannibalism, who gets eaten first? And why is it me?
And why is it Tim Jousma? Well, I guess whoever dies first gets eaten first.
Yeah, I mean, knowing me, it'd probably be like from a bee sting that would do it. Just something simple, not like something dramatic, like a bear like jumping out of the trees just at this moment, mauling me or something. That'd be a great episode. Last episode. I hate your show. Roar.
Shut up.
But yes, once again, we are doing a mobile episode here, and I'm really loving the mobile episodes, and I think I'm probably going to try and do, like let's try this summer do the mobile episodes. If we do it, just do it outside somewhere.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, that way we can force you. I mean, because I know I'm going to be busy with school, but I want to be able to get outside and breathe the fresh air and not end up like Howard Hughes at the end of 10 weeks.
Yes. We've got to make sure that you have fun as well as work hard.
Yes, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that is called a degree, baby.
That's right.
All right, so, yeah, I think instead of rambling, let's just wrap it up. Is this a good way to end it, or do you have anything more you want to talk about in regards to summer?
No, I mean, I hope everybody can soak in the ambiance that we're experiencing, just the really bright sunlight out on the sand, having a great summer, and we hope that you will have a great summer as well.
Yes, and all the roosters too. So with that, I think we will wrap it up. Thank you all for listening. Remember to check out this podcast feed every Wednesday and Saturday. And I bid you adieu. Okay, bye.
Subscribe to Friends Talking Nerdy on iTunes, the Google Play Music Store, as well as Spotify. Remember to support Friends Talking Nerdy on Patreon. Goodbye, darling.